My first dream was to become a doctor, but then I fell in love with technology later on and wanted to become a computer specialist. But then I ended up working in here, and so I changed my path after that.
I went to school first from primary school all the way to college. And then after I graduated from Eastern Oregon State University, then I returned home. I would say that it's a good experience, and at the same time it's a bad experience, because I think my bad choice was joining the military, but I did learn a lot from there, so that makes me into a person that I am now.
The presidency is not an easy job. You wake up in the morning, you wonder what's going to hit you in the face. And if it's nothing, then you go to sleep praying that, thank God that nothing hit you in the face. I had many issues that I tackled when I was president.
The one thing that was very hard for me when I became the director at first was getting people to agree to work together as a team. And so that took a while, but it worked out, because when you're working with so many different people with different personalities, they tend to clash. And so I had to learn to see what works for each of them and then work together as a team.
The hardest part of training to be an archaeologist started when I became a graduate student in archaeology. As you know, when you start graduate school, you pretty much have to do things independently on your own. And I found that part a little bit difficult for me. Finding job is hard. Fortunately, the FSM national government invited me to come back home and be a part of the national government as a staff archaeologist. But when I came back, I found out that in our classification system there is no position as staff archaeologist. So I got instead historic preservation officer position. Schooling is art, but then finding job after the school is also difficult. Another difficulty I face is trying to get the people of Pohnpei relate to what an archaeologist does. They never got used to it, so they line me up with the oral historians of Pohnpei. Pohnpeians understand me as an oral historian. Rarely would they call me an archaeologist. Anyway, the responsibilities of an archaeologist is similar to, in some ways, to the oral historians.
What country should we recognize? China?
No.
People's Republic of China? Or Taiwan?
No, that's a very hard one.
Yeah, Taiwan at that time was more developed than China, and they were giving out more money.
Yes.
But I decided that we should go by China, People's Republic of China, because China is a member of the United Nations Security Council, and they had a vote on the Security Council. So if we present our request for termination of the trusteeship, they will help us. So I didn't go by the money, I go by what would help FSM. One, in foreign affairs.
I guess the greatest challenge before I came here was, I guess I was disappointed when I first came, not to this college, but back to the island, because I was away for a long period of time because I went to school. right? And when I was going to school, I had already set my mind on a goal, right? And the goal was that if I come back to Pohnpei, I wanted to be a counselor. I wanted to help children, right? Not teaching in a classroom, but to see, the problems that little kids had. Why is it hard for them to learn in classrooms, or why is it that they're not liked by other children in their community in the classroom? But that was the dream that I had in mind. So when I came back to Pohnpei, I couldn't find, there was no opening for the kind of job that I wanted, because I wanted to be a counselor. I studied something else, not history, right? I studied psychology. The two figures that I would like to share today are the mother figures in my family, especially my aunties and my mother. As mothers in our household, and also as women in the workforce, because they took care of their children, but at the same time, they also had to work. Some of them were teachers, some of them worked at stores and other offices that required them to get away from our houses, right? So seeing them having to work outside of the home, and then at the same time coming back to help their kids, that was a source of motivation for me. I was looking at them, and I was always telling myself, wow, I want to work, and at the same time I want to be a mother. It was crazy, but the mother figures in my family was, to me, they were leaders as a child growing up.
Now, I often told my class, especially the girls, to run for a public office.
So have they been running for a public office?
No.
Not yet?
Why do you think the girls don't run for public office?
I don't know.
They're afraid if they run for public office, they win, they will not have boyfriends.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's a public office. It should be concern for everybody, regardless of whether you're a girl, you're a boy. You should at least serve in public office once in your lifetime.
That's true.
And the best place to serve is Congress.
My advice for us, for you guys, especially since you guys are still young, you guys have a lot to, just don't give up. If things seem hard, there's always a way out. There's never a challenge that you cannot overcome. Everything is always, for me, there's this saying that I always use, the impossible can become possible. I mean, it's your mentality, it's the way you look at things. If things are dragging you down, try to look at things from a positive way. There's always something good out of everything bad. So just make the best of the situation and move forward.
My advice is this, and I mean it. When you guys finish school, you run for Congress. Remain active. Run for Congress, and if you win, you do something for FSM. That's where when you win, what become your responsibility is to help FSM.